Growth is not something that happens to you. It is something you choose every single day. It is not a random gift or the result of luck, but a conscious decision to invest in yourself, even when the world around you feels stagnant or uncertain. Each morning, when you wake up, you are presented with countless opportunities to either advance toward your potential or retreat into the comfort of familiarity. Choosing growth is about intentionally deciding to step into the discomfort of learning, reflection, and self-improvement, knowing that every choice compounds over time. The challenge is that growth rarely arrives in dramatic leaps. It is not a sudden transformation or an overnight revelation. Instead, it comes in small, consistent steps that require patience and discipline. It is waking up earlier to read a chapter of a book, seeking feedback even when it stings, or choosing to practice a skill one more time when you are tired. These daily choices, seemingly minor in isolation, accumulate and shape the trajectory of your life. Growth is a habit, not a one-time event, and the discipline to maintain that habit defines the difference between those who reach their potential and those who watch it slip by. Choosing growth also requires clarity of purpose. Without understanding what you are growing toward, it is easy to wander aimlessly and confuse busyness with progress. Growth without direction can feel exhausting and unfulfilling, like running on a treadmill without moving forward. Defining your goals, your values, and the person you aspire to become gives your daily efforts meaning. When you align your choices with that vision, even the small actions reading, reflecting, practicing carry immense weight and contribute to a larger, cohesive journey. Growth demands courage because it is inherently uncomfortable. It requires confronting areas of weakness, admitting mistakes, and taking risks that could lead to failure. Every moment you resist growth, it is fear whispering that you are not enough, that the effort is too much, or that change is too risky. Choosing growth means acknowledging that fear, but refusing to let it dictate your actions. It is in these moments of discomfort, when you persist despite uncertainty, that true development takes root and your character is strengthened. Another critical aspect of growth as a daily choice is consistency. Inspiration alone is fleeting. It comes and goes like a wave. The key to transformation lies in the habits you create and the choices you make when motivation is low. Growth is about showing up even when you do not feel like it, committing to small wins every day, and trusting the cumulative effect of your efforts. Each day you choose to invest in yourself, you reinforce a pattern that compounds into lasting change, building resilience, skill, and confidence that cannot be gained overnight. Choosing growth also requires self-awareness. You must understand where you currently stand, your strengths and weaknesses, and the areas that require attention. Without honest self-assessment, growth becomes directionless, and efforts may be wasted on areas that do not move you forward. Daily reflection, asking yourself what worked, what didn't, and how you can improve, keeps you on track and ensures that your choices are purposeful rather than reactive. Awareness is the compass that guides the journey, helping you navigate the challenges and opportunities that arise along the way. Growth is relational as well. The people you surround yourself with influence your trajectory more than you realize. Choosing growth often means seeking mentors, peers, or communities that challenge and inspire you. It is about engaging in conversations that stretch your thinking, exposing yourself to perspectives that are uncomfortable or unfamiliar, and being willing to adapt. The daily choice to learn from others, to be receptive to feedback, and to elevate your environment is as vital as the work you do on your own. Growth does not happen in isolation. It thrives in connection and dialogue. Time is both the enemy and the ally of growth. Each day you delay choosing growth, you allow habits of stagnation to take root. Each day you choose to act deliberately, you build momentum that becomes increasingly powerful. The daily choice to prioritize learning, reflection, and skill building requires discipline against the temptations of distraction, procrastination, and complacency. Growth is about consistently allocating your time to the things that matter, even when the immediate rewards are invisible, trusting that your efforts will manifest into meaningful results over months and years. Growth is also about resilience in the face of setbacks. Every journey of development encounters obstacles, failures, and moments of doubt. Choosing growth daily means embracing these moments as opportunities rather than threats. It is understanding that each challenge, each failure, contains lessons and insights that refine your capabilities. Persistence, patience, and a commitment to continue the journey, despite difficulty, are what separate those who stagnate from those who evolve. The choice to grow is reaffirmed every time you rise after a setback, every time you turn disappointment into learning, and every time you refuse to let failure define your path. Ultimately, growth as a daily choice is a declaration of self-responsibility. It is the recognition that your future is not determined by circumstances, luck, or the actions of others, but by the choices you make today, tomorrow, and the day after. Every decision to invest in yourself, no matter how small, is a vote for the person you are becoming. It is a commitment to the idea that you are capable of more than you currently are, and that every day presents a new opportunity to move closer to that potential. Growth is not optional. It is a choice you make repeatedly, consciously, intentionally, and without compromise. Comfort is seductive because it feels safe, familiar, and effortless. It lulls us into believing that the life we have right now is enough, that the effort to stretch beyond our current limits is unnecessary. But comfort is the enemy of progress because it creates a false sense of security, convincing us that stagnation is acceptable and that growth is optional. Every time we choose ease over challenge, we delay the development of skills, character, and resilience that only hardship and effort can produce. Progress requires leaving the familiar behind and venturing into the unknown, and comfort is the weight that holds us back. When we cling to comfort, we shrink the possibilities of our own potential. We settle for mediocrity because it is easier than confronting the discomfort of change. Staying within our routines, repeating habits that require little effort, and avoiding situations that might challenge our assumptions provides temporary relief, but it comes at a long-term cost. The life we dream of rarely exists inside the boundaries of what feels safe. It is always found just beyond the edge of discomfort, where growth demands risk, patience, and persistence. Comfort is not neutral. It actively prevents us from evolving into the people we are capable of becoming. Progress demands discomfort because it pushes us to confront our limitations. When we challenge ourselves, we expose weaknesses, gaps in knowledge, and fears that we would rather ignore. It is natural to recoil from these moments, to retreat into what is known and secure. But every time we resist that pull, we strengthen our capacity to handle greater challenges in the future. Discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that we are stretching, learning, and growing. Avoiding discomfort may feel safe in the short term, but it slowly erodes ambition, curiosity, and the ability to reach new heights. The allure of comfort also manifests in our environment. We surround ourselves with routines, people, and places that reinforce what we already know, creating an echo chamber of familiarity. While these environments provide temporary ease, they limit exposure to new ideas, perspectives, and opportunities. Growth is born in spaces that challenge our thinking, provoke curiosity, and demand adaptation. Choosing comfort over exploration diminishes our ability to innovate, problem solve, and create meaningful impact. Every step toward discomfort, every decision to seek challenge, expands the landscape of what is possible. Comfort creates a sense of complacency that is difficult to recognize because it often masquerades as contentment. We tell ourselves we are happy enough, good enough, or doing fine, using these phrases as shields against the anxiety of change. But true progress is rarely content with the status quo. It questions, it seeks, and it pushes boundaries. Those who choose comfort over growth gradually accept a life of limitations because the temporary relief of ease overshadows the long-term rewards of effort. It is not laziness alone that prevents progress, it is the subtle, persistent pull of comfort that discourages risk, experimentation, and exploration. Growth requires courage to step into the unfamiliar. The moment we choose challenge over comfort, we invite uncertainty into our lives. Every choice to push beyond what feels easy demands vulnerability, self-belief, and resilience. It is in these moments, when the path ahead is unclear and the stakes feel high, that real transformation occurs. Comfort may shield us from failure or difficulty, but it also shields us from mastery, achievement, and self-discovery. To progress, we must learn to see discomfort not as an enemy to avoid, but as a companion to embrace. Choosing discomfort also strengthens character. It teaches patience, persistence, and humility. Each time we push through resistance, we reinforce mental fortitude and emotional resilience. We learn to face challenges without running, to confront fear without surrendering, and to embrace uncertainty as a catalyst for growth. Comfort, by contrast, dulls these qualities, encouraging avoidance and undermining our ability to handle adversity. Those who succeed consistently are not the ones who avoid discomfort. They are the ones who welcome it as an essential part of their journey. Comfort also limits creativity and innovation. When we remain in predictable, safe spaces, our thinking becomes rigid and repetitive. New ideas, insights, and breakthroughs are rarely born in safety. They emerge when we explore unknown territories, experiment, and risk failure. By choosing challenge over comfort, we unlock potential, expand our imagination, and cultivate the ability to see possibilities others overlook. Settling into comfort is a slow suffocation of our creative instincts, whereas discomfort stimulates ingenuity and drives progress. Even small acts of avoiding comfort have a cumulative effect over time. Each time we choose ease over effort, we reinforce habits of inaction, procrastination, and avoidance. Over weeks, months, and years, these small choices compound, shaping a life constrained by what is safe, rather than inspired by what is possible. Conversely, the deliberate choice to embrace discomfort, take risks, and challenge ourselves even in minor ways accumulates into momentum that propels us forward. Progress is not accidental. It is the sum of repeated decisions to favor growth over comfort. Ultimately, comfort is a silent thief that steals potential and delays purpose. It disguises itself as contentment and convinces us that the familiar is enough, all while quietly preventing evolution. Progress requires awareness of this danger and a daily commitment to resist it, even when it is difficult, inconvenient, or exhausting. Every choice to step beyond comfort expands capacity, strengthens resolve, and moves us closer to realizing our potential. Comfort will always be available as an easy refuge, but the decision to progress lies in choosing discomfort consistently and intentionally. Growth is rarely the result of a single, dramatic act. It is the accumulation of small, consistent actions over time that shape who we become. Each decision, no matter how minor it seems in the moment, carries weight. When we choose to read one more page, reflect for 5 more minutes, or practice a skill one more time, we are planting seeds that, with consistent care, will grow into significant outcomes. The power of compounding lies not in the grandeur of an action, but in the persistence to repeat it day after day. Every choice to invest in yourself, even in small ways, builds momentum. Momentum is invisible at first. It does not announce itself in flashy results or immediate recognition. But just as a snowball rolling down a hill gathers size and speed gradually, small, deliberate efforts accumulate into forces that eventually become unstoppable. Skipping a day, procrastinating, or dismissing minor opportunities may feel inconsequential. But over time, these omissions compound as much as positive actions. Growth is the sum of what we consistently do, not what we occasionally attempt. Small actions also build habits, and habits are the architecture of our lives. Repeated effort shapes routine, and routine shapes identity. When we commit to taking small steps regularly, we program ourselves to act in alignment with our goals. Whether it is dedicating 10 minutes a day to reflection, writing down ideas, or learning a new skill, these actions may feel insignificant individually, but they define the person we are becoming. Habits are invisible scaffolding that supports achievements far greater than any single act could produce. Consistency in small actions also strengthens resilience. Each repeated effort, even when progress seems minimal, teaches patience and persistence. We learn to trust the process, to keep going when results are slow, and to recognize that true growth is rarely instantaneous. This consistency reinforces confidence in our ability to improve, and it gradually erodes the fear of failure that often holds us back. Small, repeated actions act as both training ground and proof that change is possible, even when it feels out of reach. Small actions compound not just in skill or knowledge, but in relationships and influence as well. Listening attentively for a few extra minutes, offering help when it is inconvenient, or expressing gratitude consistently creates connections that multiply over time. The impact of these actions is not always immediately visible, but relationships strengthen, trust grows, and opportunities expand quietly yet powerfully. Just as money compounds with interest, small acts of care and attention compound into influence and impact that can be life-changing. Compounding effect of small actions also applies to mindset. Choosing to focus on growth, optimism, and learning in minor, daily moments gradually reshapes our perspective. Over time, repeated mental choices create neural pathways that make resilience, curiosity, and problem-solving more natural. The mind begins to operate in alignment with long-term goals, automatically seeking solutions, opportunities, and insights that reinforce progress. Small, intentional shifts in thinking accumulate into a mindset capable of achieving extraordinary results. Small actions also teach the value of patience. We live in a culture of instant gratification, where immediate results are expected and delays are frustrating. Compounding, by contrast, requires patience and long-term focus. It reminds us that greatness is not instant, and that the best outcomes are often invisible until they suddenly manifest after months or years of unseen effort. Each small action is a commitment to the future, a demonstration of faith that consistent effort will produce results, even when the path is not immediately clear. Accountability magnifies the compounding effect. When we commit to small actions publicly or share them with mentors, peers, or teams, we reinforce the habit and multiply the impact. Knowing that someone else recognizes our consistency encourages repetition and encourages higher standards. Each small, consistent action becomes part of a web of accountability, creating momentum that is both personal and relational. Compounding accelerates when our actions inspire and influence others to act consistently as well. The beauty of small actions is that they are accessible to everyone, regardless of circumstances. No one starts with perfect skill, unlimited resources, or ideal conditions. But anyone can take one more step today, practice one more time, or dedicate a few extra minutes to learning or reflection. These small actions, repeated faithfully, level the playing field over time. They democratize growth, proving that persistent, intentional effort is far more powerful than talent alone or sporadic bursts of effort. Ultimately, small actions compound because they create both momentum and identity simultaneously. Each repetition strengthens skill, reinforces mindset, and builds confidence, while also shaping the type of person we become. The key is consistency, patience, and belief in the power of gradual progress. By committing to small, deliberate steps each day, we set in motion a force far greater than any single action could achieve, creating a foundation for lasting growth, achievement, and transformation. Honesty with oneself is the foundation of meaningful growth. Without it, every effort to improve becomes misguided, shallow, or ineffective. It requires the courage to see yourself clearly, to recognize both your strengths and your weaknesses without excuses or rationalizations. Self-deception may provide comfort in the short term, but it ensures stagnation over time. Growth begins the moment we confront the truth about who we are, where we stand, and the choices we make every day that either move us forward or hold us back. Self-reflection is the tool that transforms honesty into actionable insight. It is the practice of pausing to examine our thoughts, behaviors, and patterns with a critical, yet compassionate, eye. Without reflection, we are like travelers moving through a landscape with no map, unaware of the detours, obstacles, and opportunities that surround us. Reflection allows us to measure progress, identify recurring mistakes, and understand the root causes of our successes and failures. It transforms raw honesty into understanding, guiding our next steps with clarity and intention. Honesty requires vulnerability. It is easy to celebrate successes and inflate achievements while ignoring failures, shortcomings, or behaviors that hinder growth. True honesty, however, demands confronting uncomfortable truths, admitting when we were wrong, acknowledging where effort fell short, and recognizing patterns of avoidance or complacency. This vulnerability is not weakness. It is the essential gateway to self-improvement, because only by seeing ourselves fully can we begin to change. Self-reflection also illuminates hidden assumptions and biases that shape our decisions. Much of what influences our behavior operates unconsciously, steering us toward habits, comfort zones, and repeated mistakes. By regularly examining our choices, motivations, and reactions, we uncover the invisible forces that limit growth. This awareness creates the opportunity to replace unconscious patterns with intentional actions, aligning behavior with values, goals, and the person we aspire to become. Honesty and reflection are iterative, ongoing processes, not one-time acts. Each day presents a chance to pause, assess, and course correct. The small moments considering why we reacted with frustration, why we avoided a difficult conversation, or why we hesitated to take a risk reveal patterns that accumulate over time. Recognizing these patterns allows us to take ownership of our growth, making incremental changes that compound into significant transformation over months and years. Another critical aspect of honesty is accepting responsibility. Growth is impossible when we blame circumstances, other people, or luck for our situation. Honest self-reflection requires looking inward and acknowledging where our choices, inaction, or mindset contributed to the outcomes we experience. This level of responsibility is empowering because it shifts the locus of control back to ourselves. We may not control every circumstance, but we do control our response, our effort, and our commitment to improvement. Self-reflection also fosters humility. The more we examine our thoughts and behaviors honestly, the more we realize how much there is to learn, improve, and unlearn. Humility is the antidote to arrogance and complacency. It keeps us teachable and open to feedback. By recognizing our limitations and embracing the reality that growth is an ongoing journey, we remain adaptable, resilient, and capable of navigating challenges that would otherwise overwhelm us. Honesty and self-reflection also deepen our relationships and interactions. When we understand ourselves, we communicate more authentically, respond more thoughtfully, and empathize more effectively. Our self-awareness allows us to recognize how our actions impact others, to take responsibility for mistakes, and to cultivate trust. Growth is not only personal, it extends outward, shaping the environment, culture, and people we engage with. Honest self-reflection becomes a catalyst for both internal and relational transformation. The practice of reflection creates foresight. By analyzing past decisions and outcomes, we can anticipate challenges and opportunities before they arise. Honest evaluation of our successes and failures allows us to make more informed choices, avoid repeating mistakes, and seize moments that accelerate growth. Reflection turns experience into wisdom, enabling us to move forward strategically rather than blindly, and to approach each day with intentionality and purpose. Ultimately, honesty and self-reflection are the compass and mirror of personal development. The mirror shows us who we are, without illusions, while the compass guides us toward who we have the potential to become. Together, they transform uncertainty into clarity, mistakes into lessons, and effort into meaningful progress. Without these practices, growth becomes random and directionless, but with them, every choice, every action, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to evolve intentionally and purposefully. Waiting is one of the most subtle obstacles to progress because it often disguises itself as preparation, patience, or prudence. We tell ourselves that the right moment will come, that circumstances must align perfectly, or that we need more knowledge, resources, or confidence before we act. But waiting, in reality, is a form of inaction that stalls growth. The perfect moment rarely arrives, and the longer we delay, the further behind we fall. Action, even imperfect or small, always moves us forward, while waiting keeps us stagnant. Every moment spent waiting is an opportunity lost. The decisions we hesitate to make, the risks we avoid, and the steps we postpone accumulate into years of deferred growth. Waiting gives the illusion of control, as if delaying action buys more certainty, when in fact it merely prolongs uncertainty. The people who achieve their goals, build influence, and transform their lives are rarely those who wait for ideal conditions. They are those who take initiative, step into discomfort, and create momentum from movement itself. Action fuels confidence. Waiting, conversely, reinforces fear. Every step we take, no matter how small, diminishes the power of doubt and builds trust in our own abilities. Action teaches lessons that theory, reflection, or planning alone cannot provide. We learn through doing, through trial and error, and through the real-world consequences of our choices. Waiting leaves us untested, unproven, and unprepared, while action cultivates resilience, skill, and adaptability. Waiting often stems from fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty. But the truth is that growth, progress, and opportunity exist on the other side of fear. Action is the antidote, a deliberate refusal to let fear dictate our future. Every choice to move forward, despite anxiety or hesitation, weakens fear's hold and strengthens our capacity to handle greater challenges. Waiting strengthens fear, while action diminishes it, creating a cycle where momentum feeds courage, and courage fuels further action. Action generates clarity, while waiting is often accompanied by endless planning, overthinking, or speculation. Actual movement produces concrete feedback. By acting, we discover what works, what doesn't, and what adjustments are needed. Waiting keeps us in a fog of indecision, guessing outcomes that cannot be known until we engage. Action illuminates the path forward, revealing possibilities that remain invisible when we remain passive. Momentum is born from doing, not deliberating endlessly. Small actions taken consistently compound into significant results, and waiting robs us of that compounding power. Every day we delay is another day without forward progress. Even imperfect action is more powerful than perfect inaction because it creates experience, builds habit, and reinforces confidence. Waiting is an illusion of preparation, whereas action is the actual preparation that produces growth, insight, and mastery over time. Action also influences others. When we move, others notice. Waiting leaves our potential invisible, hidden, and unrealized, but action demonstrates capability, initiative, and commitment. Leaders, innovators, and change makers do not wait for validation. They act, inspire, and attract support through visible engagement. Movement generates momentum not only for ourselves but for those around us, creating ripples that waiting can never produce. Procrastination is a silent partner of waiting, often disguised as busyness or productivity. We convince ourselves that we are preparing, researching, or organizing, when in truth we are postponing the real work. Action cuts through this illusion. Every decision to move forward, however imperfectly, is a declaration that progress matters more than comfort, visibility, or certainty. Waiting may feel safe, but action produces results, insight, and growth that cannot be gained otherwise. Action is the bridge between intention and reality. Having a goal, a vision, or a dream is meaningless without the deliberate steps to make it real. Waiting creates a gap between desire and achievement, a space where ideas fade and enthusiasm diminishes. Action closes that gap, converting aspiration into tangible outcomes. Each step, however small, transforms abstract goals into lived experience and builds the confidence to tackle increasingly ambitious challenges. Ultimately, action over waiting is a choice to take ownership of your life and your future. Every decision to act, to move forward despite uncertainty, to embrace discomfort and risk, reinforces the truth that we shape our own destiny. Waiting may provide comfort, but it is action that creates transformation. Progress does not occur while standing still. It occurs when we commit to showing up, moving forward, and taking responsibility for our own growth in every moment. Growth is not something that happens in bursts or according to a strict timetable. It is not a project with a start and finish line that can be checked off a list. True growth is a lifestyle, a continuous way of living, thinking, and acting that permeates every decision, habit, and relationship. It is a commitment to being better today than you were yesterday, and better tomorrow than you are today. Approaching growth as a project limits its potential because it frames improvement as temporary or optional, rather than as an enduring, lifelong pursuit. A lifestyle of growth requires intentionality in every aspect of life. It is about aligning your daily routines, interactions, and choices with your long-term vision. From the books you read, to the conversations you engage in, to the way you respond to challenges, growth becomes the lens through which all actions are filtered. Living growth as a lifestyle means that learning, reflection, and self-improvement are no longer occasional activities. They are embedded into the fabric of your day-to-day existence. Adopting growth as a lifestyle also demands consistency. It is the repeated, deliberate effort over time that shapes character, builds skill, and cultivates resilience. Sporadic attempts, no matter how ambitious, cannot replicate the compounding power of daily commitment. The discipline to show up for yourself, even when it feels inconvenient or tiring, is what separates those who evolve from those who remain static. Lifestyle growth is not dependent on motivation alone. It is reinforced through habits and deliberate practice. Growth, as a lifestyle, requires embracing challenges as integral rather than optional. Life will inevitably present setbacks, failures, and discomfort, and how we respond defines whether growth becomes a pattern or a temporary effort. Viewing obstacles as opportunities to learn, adapt, and improve shifts perspective from avoidance to engagement. Those who treat growth as a lifestyle do not seek comfort. They seek development, knowing that each challenge strengthens skills, character, and confidence. Self-awareness is at the core of a growth-centered lifestyle. Living growth means continuously evaluating your mindset, behaviors, and outcomes to ensure alignment with your long-term vision. Self-reflection, honesty, and accountability are not occasional practices, they are daily rituals. Understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and patterns allows you to adjust strategies, reinforce positive habits, and dismantle behaviors that no longer serve your development. Lifestyle growth is iterative, evolving as you evolve. Growth as a lifestyle also emphasizes the integration of learning into action. Knowledge alone does not produce transformation. It must be applied consistently in real-world situations. Every lesson learned, skill acquired, or insight gained is meaningful only when incorporated into behavior and decision-making. Living a growth-focused lifestyle means that learning and action are inseparable, and that each informs and strengthens the other over time. Relationships and community play a vital role in sustaining a growth-centered lifestyle. Engaging with mentors, peers, and networks that challenge, support, and inspire reinforces daily commitment to development. Growth is magnified when shared and amplified through connection, dialogue, and collaboration. Living growth as a lifestyle requires awareness of the influence others have on your trajectory and intentionally surrounding yourself with people and environments that elevate your potential. Time management becomes a reflection of priorities in a growth lifestyle. Every choice about how you spend your hours is a micro-decision that compounds into long-term outcomes. Prioritizing growth means dedicating time to skill development, reflection, health, relationships, and meaningful work. It is not about doing everything. It is about aligning your actions with values and goals consistently. Lifestyle growth treats time as an asset to invest deliberately, rather than as a resource to spend passively. Living growth as a lifestyle also requires humility and adaptability. The commitment to continual development means acknowledging that you will never arrive, that mastery is an ongoing pursuit, and that there is always more to learn. This mindset fosters openness to feedback, willingness to change course, and resilience in the face of failure. Those who embrace growth as a lifestyle remain curious, teachable, and adaptable, recognizing that transformation is a lifelong journey rather than a destination. Ultimately, growth as a lifestyle transforms the way we experience life itself. It reshapes priorities, strengthens character, expands perspective, and creates momentum that compounds over time. Every choice, habit, and action becomes part of a broader, intentional pattern of improvement. Growth is no longer something you do, it becomes who you are. By integrating learning, reflection, and deliberate action into every day, life itself becomes the vehicle for continuous evolution, and the pursuit of potential becomes a natural, inescapable rhythm that defines your existence.